Ghouls and Gals, and welcome back to my channel. If you guys are new here, hi, my name is Hillary, and if you are a returning subscriber, welcome back. Before we get started, I just wanted to do a quick... Before we get started, I figured out a name, what to call all of you guys watching this crazy family that we have established. I had a couple really good suggestions by you guys, but I actually decided we're gonna be called the Crazyhillys because, you know, I've been using that as like a gamer tag, and like that's just a thing that I use, so why not? It kind of seems perfect, right? And we're all a little, I think we're all a little crazy. So after establishing that our family is now called the Crazyhillys, I just want to get right on into this video. Tonight we are going to be covering the legend of the Mothman. So the Mothman is this legendary creature that terrorized a West Virginia town in the 1960s. Now the Mothman is a lot like Bigfoot. It's a very wide, like most people know about it. A lot of people know about the Mothman, but I figured let's just dive on into the stories because as you may have heard of it, you may not know the story behind it. The first official sighting of the Mothman was on November 12th, 1966. The first sighting, there was a grave digger, and his job couldn't get any more creepy. He's just in a grave digging, but he was the first person to see the Mothman. He was working, I guess, grave digging, when he looked up and he saw a humanoid figure. He said that it flew over his head and it would jump from tree to tree, and he described it as being a large, brown, human-looking being. Just 3 days after the grave digger's original sighting of the Mothman, there's a couple, two teenagers, boy and a girl, you know, probably just hanging out, having a good time in a park or wherever they were, saw the Mothman. They described it as a gray winged creature, and it was just standing in front of the car that they were all seated in. Now obviously they were terrified, so they ran away, and it's said that this creature followed them. When they first saw the creature, it was kind of shuffling in a weird manner, but then as it was chasing them, it caught up to the car. It was quite quick. Now, not wanting to believe what they saw, they actually went back. Before they went and reported this, they were like, yo, did we all just see what we think we saw? So they actually went back, and then they saw the thing again. So they kind of went back and clarified, like, yeah, that... After seeing the being for a second time, that's when they decided, okay, let's contact authorities. So they all came back into town and they told authorities what they saw. They said this beast had bright red eyes that were about 6 inches apart, a wingspan of about 10 feet, and it was trying to avoid their headlights, so it did not like the light. The couple said that this creature got up to a speed of 100 miles per hour while chasing them, and then after that kind of just scuttled off into the woods. They said it was super quick flying, but the way that it walked was very strange. The papers at this point were calling it a bird and described it as a man with wings, but as soon as these two solid viewings happened and it kind of went into the papers, then a bunch of people started seeing it. Now, I don't know if this is just because, like, hey, it's in the paper and I want to be in the paper, so I saw a big moth-looking man. Like, I'm not 100% sure, because obviously with the more notoriety coming to this about the Mothman, more people are going to want to either be like, hey, I saw it too. Whether or not all these people did see it, I don't know, but I find that the first two are pretty compelling because I don't know why a bunch of teenagers would just run into the police station to go describe this huge creature that they'd seen unless they had maybe seen something. Whether or not it was a Mothman, I don't know. Could be, like, maybe it was a large bird, but we're gonna get into it. Now, since the two first sightings, 3 days, in the span of 3 days after those two first sightings, about 8 more sightings happened. A couple of which were from volunteer firefighters who also described the red eyes, and the size of the creature. So after all these sightings, obviously people are trying to find like logical explanations. So one of the main things that they thought was that it was a bird, and this bird is called a sandhill crane. This crane can almost be as tall as a man, and it has quite a large wingspan, but it's not really native to the area, as well as it doesn't really look like a man. If you look up this bird, it has quite a skinny neck, which, I don't know, would you mistake a crane for a guy? Another bird that people thought that it was an owl, because I think there was an owlery somewhere close to where this area, like where all the sightings happened, because this bird obviously had red eyes, and a lot of people said that the eyes kind of turn red when you flashed a light on it, and that is known to happen with owls. Like, their eyes will look red if you flash a light on it. However, the size of an owl is not the size of a man. It's like yay big. Like, they're not man-sized things, so I don't know where you could get like a 10-foot arm span. You know what I mean? Now, all of these sightings happened in an area that is close to a TNT area. And it's basically a group of buildings that back in World War II times, it was an ammunition factory. And it said that a lot of toxic chemicals kind of seeped into the ground, and, you know, it's not really a great place to be, but they think that maybe one of these large birds, like the sandhill crane or something, kind of got in contact with it and mutated into this large man-like being with red eyes and huge wings. Now, theories ranged from Mothman just being a prankster that would walk up and scare these people into what they're seeing, to also, once the Mothman story came out, a lot of the people were like maybe just seeing birds and convincing themselves that it was this strange creature. So there are quite a few theories. It's also theorized that maybe it was a demon because it resembled some sort of demon from the Bible and other kind of things like that. It's also said that this Mothman being is kind of a harbinger of bad luck. There was a large bridge called Silver Bridge, and the Mothman was seen on this bridge about a week before this terrible accident happened. So December 15th, 1967, about a year into all this Mothman madness, there was a bridge called Silver Bridge, and it was completely packed with cars, head to toe. But this bridge was made back in the day where, you know, it could only kind of support cars that were like Model T, maybe like 1,000 pounds, where nowadays cars are a lot heavier. So this bridge could not hold the amount of people that were on it. And unfortunately, the bridge collapsed and a whole bunch of people died, pedestrians, people in their cars. I believe it's around 40 people or so. Don't quote me on that, but it was a very big tragedy for that town. And because there was a Mothman sighting about a week before on this bridge, now everyone is thinking he's a harbinger of like death and brings calamity. Obviously, this town hasn't had an accident like that. That was quite a big, it's like a historic event. But a lot of people blame it on the Mothman. Now, I'm not going to say that Mothman doesn't exist. In my opinion, he could. It's very plausible that something like this maybe could have happened, and we just don't see it because they don't want to be seen. It could be like an intelligent thing that just wants to hide from people, much like Bigfoot. Like, am I a little bit of a Bigfoot enthusiast? Like, yeah, you know, evolution, baby. We don't know. And to this day, even if you go down to Point Pleasant in West Virginia, almost heaven, West Virginia, Mothman tourism is like a big thing. I'm pretty sure that's the main tourist attraction for that town. They have a huge Mothman statue, and they have museums. They have the original testimonies of the two couples, the four people to see Mothman in the museum. And it's a lot of people are convinced, like, these stories have been passed down from like their parents to them, so people are convinced that this happened. So we're never gonna know what happened in the 60s, but Are any of you guys brave enough to go down to Point Pleasant and see if you guys can see Mothman? Do you guys believe Mothman is real? It's up to you guys. Let me know down in the comments what you think. Do you think that this actually happened and all these people saw what they saw, or is it just mass hysteria and everyone's crazy? I think there's a Mothman. I think there was a Mothman for a brief period of time. Whether or not he was a Mothman, we'll never know. But thanks guys for watching. I'll see you guys next week. Bye.